Bonjour, hello. I am Adam McPherson and I am buying a house here in Perpignan. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about that and I'm going to I have made a few, but I'm going to make multiple videos about just, what French life is like, what this buying a house for an American at least is like, what the differences are, things like that. First of all, I started this process about 2 or 3 months ago, but really I started this process 17 years ago when I was doing an internship in London and I just got tired of the weather and I had an agreement with my school that I would go to France because I was a terrible French student, and they agreed to give me a bunch of hours towards my minor if I would just go to France and, Jesus Christ, learn some French. Je parle en petit français, Monsieur McPherson. God, tu parles en petit français, Monsieur. I mean, just so bad at French. Couldn't get it in class. So at least at that point, I picked the most southern part on the map to go to, the warmest part, which was Perpignan. Just a place I found on something like Craigslist called Gumtree. I think I spent $400 a month, everything included, to rent a little apartment in a little town called Estagel. I love Estagel. J'adore Estagel. Estagel is just great. Now it's changed over the years, but I visited Estagel. J'adore Estagel. It's in the Pyrenees Mountains. I went running in those mountains every day. I couldn't say enough about Estagel. I've been back since. Not quite the same town, but still, I really like Estagel. But this time, I came back, years later. I was on a trip in Poland, and I said, I want to visit Perpignan. And it turns out all my old friends were still here. So I rented a place. I went home and then I came back and I rented a place. I think it cost me $500 for, I only stayed 3 weeks. So 3 weeks, it was a huge apartment. And I just kind of hung out in Perpignan that second time, and I was like, I'm gonna buy a house. So I started wandering around these beautiful streets, as I always do, and I sort of already knew what the areas were, but just worked those out better, and kind of coming to the realization that you don't have nice neighborhoods in France, you have nice streets. So, trying to find a good street for myself. And before this, on WhatsApp is primarily what I used, and I used some real estate websites. I was just checking every day, like, what are the houses? What's for sale? How much do they cost? What do they include? What kind of work to make it comfortable for me am I going to have to do? And I walked around the city, and in the artistic district in the town center, I found this lovely little house. I won't give you too much detail now, but um, basically the back part of the house is a very old church that goes underground. And this is kind of the facade, the front of the house. There's a tunnel that runs under my house entrance. There's a doorway, and it looks like it's the front of the house, but really it's a tunnel, and my house entrance is to the left, which I kind of like. And it's an old millionaire. He lives back there and owns that castle, I believe, with his ex-wife. I'm not 100% sure. The tunnel will be owned in a community organization. So basically, nothing's obligatory. Like, you do not have to do anything they say, or you don't have to pay anything they say. It's just a communally owned property. So like an HOA in the U.S., but the difference being that everyone jointly owns the piece of property, and everyone votes on what should happen, and the votes don't count unless you want them to. So I do have this tunnelway that it's jointly owned under my property and to the right of my property, but the ground to the left I own all the way up, and it's 2 stories. And it's been the bottom story, wood floors, a single bathroom. When I say a bathroom, I mean a closet with a toilet in it, which I like it. I don't like brushing my teeth where I defecate. Anyway, and then the second story is completely modernized. I mean, just anything you'd see in any New York, in any regular little apartment, you know, living room, kitchen, everything updated. The cost wasn't too significant. We paid 120,000 euros. At the time where I was originally making the deal, that was $1.03, and that was around February of 2025. But now we're in June 8th of today, and the dollar has lost 11 cents. So it's gotten a little more expensive because I'm still in the closing. So it's going to end up costing me, I'm guessing the dollar will go up and down. I'm guessing it's going to be like $138,000, $140,000 when we're all said and done. That's not a bad price to be in the most beautiful place in the entire world. With some of the best people I've ever met. Here's some things I got to say about the French. J'adore la France. Public, tete le monde. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get better at French. But just the way they think is so rational. And just I'm just going to put some things out there that I love about them. So if you're alone, and it's fine to be alone, but if you don't want to be for whatever reason, it's so simple not to be. Just go sit at any cafe. Get there at like 7 to 9's mealtime at night. But get there at like 9:15 and just sit there and just drink white wine. Just drink some white wine. Drink some white wine. Je voudrais vin blanc, vin rouge. And you don't have to pay tax. You don't have to tip. Really. You can, but for the tip, but really not expected. And just sit there and just, you know, listen to the French. Just listen to people talk. And if you do that, really they don't switch cafes. You know, I think that came back from the Jacobins and the French Revolution, where a lot of the political philosophies came from the cafes, and really if you went to the cafe down the street, you could get killed. So you stay at the cafe, stay at one cafe, and just listen to the people talk, and I promise by the end of the night, you will have a friend, a mon ami, because they just are friendly people. A couple of things that's just made it easy for me. You say hello to people when you start any conversation, even with a bum on the street, anyone. Just say, if it's before 5, say bonjour. If it's after 5, say bonsoir. But whatever you say, just say hello before you start any interaction. You just set yourself up for success if you just say hello to people, bonjour, and then they just open up. French friendships are deep, so you know, be careful of sitting there and drinking wine with someone, because there's a good chance that that person might never want to stop being your friend. You know, so friendships run deep here, and it's absolutely fantastic. Really, it's just wonderful. So right now, I am sitting the town. If you imagine the town is inside this ball, these are walls of a city, like big city walls, and you know the town grew out. So I'm right on the outside of the wall. I don't believe I can just switch my camera around. As I get better at these, I'll do better with editing and things like that. You should see my first 2 videos. It's just me walking around drunk with a buddy who's an engineer at a Walmart distribution center to help me come look at my new house. And these are awful videos. But I'd say this one's a little bit better, and we're going to get a shotgun mic, and I'm going to learn how to talk in front of a camera a little better. So, you know, no worries there. But I'm right on the outside of this wall, so I can walk up some steps and be really close to the Rue de la Revolution the Rue de Revolution Française. So that's in the artistic district, and you know, just really close to that, just right up and over the wall here. That wall, you can literally see it. That wall, it just if that just goes up, and it's a big tall castle wall, and on the other side of that, it's basically the middle of town, and the Rue de la France Revolution, which I will just go ahead and say that is where I decided to get my new house here in Perpignan, France. Some other cool things about Perpignan, just you can see the mountains, and you can't see, but the ocean's 10 minutes as well. So kind of like Destin, Fort Walton Beach, if you care to look those places up on the Gulf of Mexico, you know, you get that ocean air, and you know, you get to be able to get to the ocean. The difference between the beaches is the beaches are a little smaller than mine, and they're a little brown sand, but that's fine. Brown sand's fine. And you know, the French Riviera, the Mediterranean, beautiful. If you don't really know where Perpignan is, it's about 30 minutes north of Spain. I can get to Barcelona by train for about 44 euros on second class. I think I pay about 150 on first class. By the way, if you do that train ride and you've never been on a train before, get the second story. So, because if you get the first story of the train, you're not going to be able to see out and see all the beautiful views on your train travels. Bonjour, Scotty.
Bonjour.
So mon ami is here from America. His name is Scotty, and he's helping me settle into my new house. Well, you know what? Since Scotty's up, I am going to hang out with him today. We'll call this a decent first video, and hopefully these get a little bit better. But as I, buy the house, I've applied for French residency. So when I get back to the America in 6 weeks, I'll go to the consulate's office and I'll have a conversation with them and show that I have money and that I have this property. Hopefully is complete at that time. Should be. And then I'll come back to France and I'll go to one of their offices and I'll request residency. This is because I'm a commander in the Army right now, the reserves. So right now that command is in Florida. So once that command is over in February of next year, I want to transfer to a reserve unit in Germany. And then that reserve unit, instead of going back to America, I can just you take a train once a month to Germany. And then also my university, Troy University, has agreed, as I'm a global leader PhD student, to give me credit. Not this term, not the next term, but the term after that, they've agreed to give me 4 hours of credit toward my PhD while I'm here in France, as long as I can go to some conferences and things like that. So really, I just like France, and I have the opportunity to move my life here, even as a member of the Army Reserves in the United States. So I'm just taking that opportunity because I just think it's one of the most wonderful places in the world, and I think the people are some of the most wonderful people. Anyway, that's my first little blog about, really my third, about Perpignan, and again, the first 2 videos are terrible. Yeah, thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll run into the other YouTuber that I've seen here in Perpignan, Jeff. I've really liked his videos, and he seems like a real nice guy.